So last time in the first video of this disciple making series, Dylan talked about the importance of intentionally inviting people into our lives. And that's what we saw Jesus did. And we want to look at the patterns of Jesus and follow them. And Jesus basically invited these 12 guys to be with him, to watch him, to observe him. And I was thinking about 5-6 years ago, I had this huge paradigm shift about what discipling others was. You see, for me, it used to be all about curriculum. I still remember sitting in my office with guys that I was discipling, and we're going through this book and we're filling in the blanks. And I just think back now and go, and I think even back then, that's really all that I knew. But I think there was something inside of me that knew there's got to be more to making disciples than filling in the blanks. And of course there is, and we're learning and observing that Jesus, he invited these 12 guys to be part of his life. And then he introduced this beautiful rhythm of invitation and challenge. And what I mean by challenge is Jesus would involve his disciples, the guys that he was investing his life into, he would involve them in God's kingdom work. And often in these situations, they would feel very stretched. They would feel like they're out of their comfort zone. But Jesus did that on purpose because it was in those times where they were forced to trust God and where they experienced God in new ways and their faith grew. And so think about when Jesus, for example, fed the 5,000, he turned to his disciples and to Philip actually and said, how are we going to feed them? And I think these guys must have initially been a little bit freaked out. And then Jesus involved them as he performed the miracle. Jesus invited Peter to step out of the boat into the water. And then Jesus sent out the 12 and then later 72 disciples to do the things that he had been doing, to heal the sick, to cast out demons, to proclaim the good news of the kingdom. And I am pretty sure in all of these situations, these men that Jesus was discipling felt out of their comfort zone. They felt pushed to places they wouldn't normally have gone. And there's a principle at work here. And the principle is that head knowledge alone doesn't really make effective disciples. And this is why curriculum-based discipleship models aren't effective in changing lives. I remember as a kid, really as a teenager actually, and as a new believer, how my pastor invited me to go visiting with him, people in the community who didn't come to our church. And I remember how that pushed me to the edge of my comfort zone. I remember how he asked me to share my testimony, how he asked me to pray in front of the congregation or to lead devotionals. And in all of these things, as I look back now, that is where my faith grew the most. And it's because faith grows best when we're kind of in the action of God's kingdom work. And so here's the principle and the challenge that we want to leave with you in this video is the people that you're investing in, think and prayerfully discern ways that you can involve them in God's kingdom work, because that's really, as they observe you and then as you involve them, that's when they're going to grow the most. And we have really just cool stories within the Edge of people who are discipling others. They take them on sea trains, they take them to the hospital, they take them to pubs. In all of these situations, they're taking these people that they're discipling to places where they can observe people, maybe feel led to approach people or pray with people, and they're involving them in God's kingdom activity. You might involve those that you're building into to lead parts of your house church or challenge them to start their own house church. I think what I'm saying here is that as we listen to the Holy Spirit, as we observe those that we're intentionally investing in, those that we've invited into our lives, that one of our challenges and privileges and honors is to look for ways that we can involve them and engage them in ways that will help them to grow far beyond than going through a book or a curriculum could. And it's life-changing, it's transformative. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. That's the principle we're after here. After we've invited people into our lives, we want to prayerfully invite them into opportunities, experiences, We want to involve them in God's kingdom work because it's there where life transformation happens in so many incredible ways. So we want to leave that with you, have you think about that, and God bless.